The New York Dolls started a tour again in March of 1976 after taking a break. In January and February, they played 3 dates in New Orleans. The shows were played at the Balayage Electric Bistro on March 11th, 12th, and 13th, a music club located in the French Quarter, where they played 2 shows nightly. All 4 members of KISS attended their second night show after they played their gig earlier in the evening at a club down the street. Their friendly rivals heckled the band throughout their set, something the bands would jokingly do to each other whenever their paths crossed. Billed as the Dolls, the band played 2 shows on May 21st and 22nd at Max's Kansas City. During the first date, Johnny Thunders played with them on stage for the last 3 songs, Downtown, Personality Crisis, and Looking for a Kiss. Joe Perry of Aerosmith joined them as well. The Dolls would play next at a benefit show for Wayne County for his defense fund. He bonked Dick Manitoba over the head with his microphone after growing tired of his constant heckling during a show at CBGB's. The blow missed his head and struck his collarbone and breaking it. Manitoba sued County for hospital bills. All the money raised was given to County for his legal bills. The Dolls played 5 songs, but it would be the last show for keyboardist Chris Robinson, who was kicked out of the band for his terrible drinking problem and a dust-up with Syl Sylvain, which proved to be the final straw. They played their first show with new keyboardist Bobby Blaine on June 6, 1976, in Youngstown, Ohio, at the Tomorrow Club. The Dolls continued to tour Ohio with a stop in Cleveland, where they played at the Agora Ballroom on June 7, 1976. The New York Dolls opened up for the Jay Giles Band on June 11th at the Cobo Hall in Detroit. Reviews of the band felt that the New York Dolls lacked charisma and attitude. The next day, they played Bogarts in Cincinnati, Ohio. Their opening act was the Greg Kihn Band. On June 14th, the New York Dolls played at the Second Chance Club. The Dolls headed back east and played a show on June 20th at the Palace Theater in Baltimore, Maryland. The band played 3 dates in New Orleans on June 24th, 25th, and 26th at Chords Underground in the French Quarter. On their final show, Joe Perry and Steven Tyler of Aerosmith showed up for their final 2 songs. Aerosmith and the Dolls were friendly rivals and shared a lot in common with each other, including looks, sound, and even the same ladies. Aerosmith was in town to play and decided to jam with their buddies. The Dolls returned to New York City and played 3 shows at Max's Kansas City on July 1st and through the 3rd. To celebrate the United States bicentennial, the band played 3 shows on the 4th of July at Max's as well. Mick Ronson jammed with the band on their final 4 songs during their set. After a brief break, the Dolls headed up to Canada, where they played a week-long residency at the Queensberry Arms in Toronto from July 12th to the 16th. Then they traveled to the city of Bala to play at the Key to Bala on July 17th to finish their visit in Canada. The Dolls resumed touring in September and played 2 shows in New York before returning to Max's Kansas City on September 24th and 25th. They played 2 sets each night. To help open up a new music venue, the Dolls played 3 shows on November 4th, 5th, and 6th at On the Rocks in New York City with Bratz as their opening act. They returned to Max's Kansas City on November 26th to play 1 show. On December 3rd, the Dolls played 2 sets at the Actors Playhouse in Greenwich Village. David Johansen and Syl Sylvain would end this version of the New York Dolls with 2 final shows at Max's Kansas City on December 29th and 30th with Blondie. What happened with the new New York Dolls? No record label wanted to touch them with a 10-foot pole. Sylvain and Johansen toured, hoping they would be signed to another label, but that never happened. Their reputation was tarnished, and they were old news. After the Dolls' name was retired, Syl Sylvain formed his own band and was signed by RCA Records and recorded and released his first solo album in 1979. David Johansen would also go solo and create his own group and signed with Columbia Records. He released his first solo album in 1978, which would feature songs that the new New York Dolls performed live, such as Frenchette, Cool Metro, Girls, and Funky But Chic. Sylvain would also appear on the album as well. Several attempts were made to reunite the New York Dolls during the 80s. The closest one was an informal reunion on stage of Jerry Nolan, Johnny Thunders, and Arthur Kane, which took place at the Roxy in Los Angeles on January 4th, 1987. The five members of the classic lineup would never reunite again on stage. Sadly, Johnny Thunders would die on April 23rd, 1991 at the age of 38. Jerry Nolan would pass away on January 14th, 1992 at the age of 45. The New York Dolls would officially reunite in June of 2004 with David Johansen, Syl Sylvain, and Arthur Kane. But that, my friends, is another story. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Cuppy's Music Curios. My name is Cuppy, and I hope to see you soon. Cheerio!